to show you some new updates to the Skyslope Suite platform. If you haven't already, make sure you have your login and your username and you're all set. First things first, we're always going to use Skyslope with Google Chrome. Make sure you have Google Chrome on your device and that your Google Chrome is up to date. We're simply going to go to skyslope.com in your Google Chrome browser and click Login. You'll log in to Skyslope Suite to start. Once you log in, this is your Skyslope Suite dashboard. You should see a few things. You should always see the Samson Properties logo in the top left. We're briefly going to go over some new updates to the Skyslope Suite dashboard. If you're asked to allow your location, please do so. That will give you your location and today's weather. A few updates to the dashboard. You can now search for any transaction or listing by contact name, by property address, by MLS number, or agent name. If you're searching for an old transaction or an active listing, you can simply use the search field here. Below that, you'll have your recent listings and transactions. Here you'll have a few shortcuts. You can click on any one of these tiles to continue working on an active listing or a pending transaction. If you'd like to view your transactions, you have another shortcut here. To view your listings, a shortcut here, and more. Underneath the More button, you can access your archives, your tasks and reminders, or your working documents. For any new listings or transactions with an executed listing agreement or ratified contract, you will start here with Create New. If you have a buyer under contract, you'll start with Create New and Transaction. If you have a listing with an executed listing agreement, you'll start with Create New and Listing. Additionally, on your new Skyslope Suite dashboard, you also have shortcuts to your recent forms files. This is where we should start the relationship with the client by either drafting a listing or writing an offer. You can also browse libraries or go to the Forms platform by clicking View All Files. Your new Skyslope dashboard has everything right up front. Recent listings transactions, recent forms files, as well as your recent envelopes. We do not use Breeze here in our jurisdiction. Always remember to start your relationship with a new property owner, seller, or landlord, or a new buyer or tenant with a forms file. To switch to your forms dashboard, you can click on View All Files. That takes you to your forms dashboard, where all of your files are available up front. Again, you can search by property address, client name, using the search. Some new updates with the new Skyslope dashboard is entering in a new ratified contract. When you have a ratified contract, either for a buyer or tenant, you will hit Create New and Transaction. You'll be asked to select who you're representing. With most transactions, you will represent the buyer. And then select the forms file that you had been recently working with the client. Continue. Please proceed to answer all of the questions regarding the transaction. If you have written your contract in Skyslope Forms, the information will pull over from the forms file. You will need to answer any of the outstanding questions. What type of property is this? This is your checklist type. Please be aware of the state for which the transaction is located and the type of transaction you're working on. Proceed to answer all of the questions that are applicable. Hit continue. Next, you'll be asked to input any of the outstanding information: your purchase price, your contract acceptance date, and your expected closing date. Escrow number is not required at this time. You'll also have your buyer's information imported if you had selected your forms file. Proceed to input any of the other information. If you need to edit any imported information, click the Edit button and continue by hitting Save. Any required fields need to be completed before you can proceed. Escrow, title, and attorney. Typically in our jurisdiction, we will utilize the title feature. Click on title and enter in the company name or select Cardinal Title Group and hit continue. Please answer as many questions as possible unless they don't pertain to your transaction. For example, if this is a cash deal, there is no loan officer. If you have the loan officer's information, please select yes and continue to input as much information as possible. In today's example, we'll choose no. If you have a transaction coordinator, again, answer yes or no. And if you were referred the client by another agent, choose yes or no. Your next step is to confirm your commission. Enter in either the percentage or the dollar amount. If you need to change the field, click on $sign to change the format to dollars or a flat fee or percentage. This will do the math for you. For buyer's agents, all that is required of you is the sales commission portion. All other portions are optional. Continue. And next, you'll be asked, will your brokerage hold earnest money deposit? Please only answer yes if Samson Properties is holding the earnest money deposit. If anyone else is holding your earnest money deposit, choose no and enter in the amount. If you have the date of the check, you can certainly utilize the calendar. That information is not required at this time. And create your transaction. On the new dashboard, you can easily enter in your ratified contract or lease for buyers and tenants by hitting Create New and Transaction. Buyer's agents and tenant agents will start their transaction by hitting Buyer. If you select Seller or both, you will have a warning to start the listing first. Select Buyer for any ratified buyer contracts or tenant leases by selecting Buyer and selecting the Forms file. And hit Continue. Continue to answer all of the questions about the property and the type of transaction. Continue to answer questions regarding the transaction by entering in all of the fields required. Your contract acceptance date and your expected closing date. Continue. Confirm all of the contacts to the transaction. If you need to edit any information or add an additional contact, you have those options here. Any revisions, hit Save. And hit Continue. Continue to confirm the agents involved in the transaction. Escrow, title, and attorney. In most of our regions, we will use title. Enter in the company name or choose Cardinal Title. And hit Continue. Continue to answer the questions about more contacts. If you have a loan officer, you can choose yes or no and proceed to enter in that information. For cash deals, please choose no. Continue to answer additional questions about the contacts. Do you have a transaction coordinator? Was the client referred to you by another agent? Confirm your commission. You can change the sale commission by percentage or $sign. Input the figure and it will do the math for you. If you have additional information, you can input it at this time. Continue. Next, you'll be asked about deposits. Will your brokerage hold earnest money deposit? Only choose yes if Samson Properties is holding your earnest money deposit and enter in the deposit amount. Date of check is optional, but please input that information if you have it and create your transaction. You'll arrive at your checklist to attach your required sale documentation documents. Listing agents. When you've executed your listing agreement, you will hit the Create New and Listing button. This is Sky, your listing file assistant. Go ahead and continue to enter the listing. Select the Forms file that you were working on to obtain your listing agreement and any seller signed disclosures. Next question. Continue to answer each question and choose your type of listing. This will be your checklist type. Please be aware of the state and the type of listing you're entering. Next question. If you had written your listing agreement in Skyslope Forms and selected your Skyslope Forms file, the information will automatically generate for you. Next question. Please do enter in the amount of the commission. Next question. And the dates of your listing agreement. Next question. The year the property was built and how you obtained this client. You have several options. Continue to confirm the client's information. Phone number and email address is required. Once you've answered all the questions about your listing, please review and create your listing. You'll arrive at your listing checklist. You're to attach all of the required checklist items signed by just the seller, landlord, or property owner, as well as any applicable items. Your Documents tab should import any of those signed, completed envelopes from your Forms file. Attach all of your required items. We'll go through this very briefly. Your attached items will be in review and will be yellow. Remember, at this juncture, these are only seller-signed disclosures and agreements between Samson Properties and the property owner. Once you've attached all of your required listing documentation documents, a reviewer will come in and approve your documents. All of your checklist items should be green. Once your active listing goes under contract, please hit the Accepted Contract button on your checklist page. And proceed to create the transaction. Continue to answer all of your red required fields. For all listings, choose the appropriate lease or under contract checklist type that correlates to your state. They are in alphabetical order. And enter in your close date. Next. Continue to proceed to confirm all of the information regarding the contacts or people involved in the contract. Your seller information should already be input for you. In order to make any edits, you can click Edit to open up the fields and make any revisions or add additional sellers. You can click Next in order to input the purchaser or tenant or buy side. Only fill in the fields with a red asterisk. Title, escrow attorney, we only require the company name. Agent representing other side, only complete the fields with a red asterisk. And hit Save. For any additional contacts without a red asterisk, please do enter in the information if you have it and hit Save. Once you've completed all of your required contacts, hit Submit and confirm the commission. Any changes can be made at this time. Also confirm who is holding the EMD and the deposit amount. Only choose Yes if Samson Properties is holding the earnest money deposit. Date of check is helpful but not required. And you can hit Submit. Arrive at your sales documentation checklist. This checklist will be above your listing documentation checklist, and you're to attach all of the ratified contracts and disclosures or any other applicable items.